Ay, shoutout mga idol, isang pagpalang araw po sa ating lahat at narito po tayo sa panibagong update, lalo na itong PBBM China State Visit. So napaka-importante kasi kahit mataas ang record ng COVID, ay talagang namang hindi na nga pinospone ng ating Pangulo yung kanyang state visit sa China sapagkat napaka-importante umano itong kanyang pagbibisita sa China. At sino ba ang makakasama ng ating Pangulo? So of course yung mga delegation ng Pilipinas, at hindi pwedeng hindi makasama yung happy wife, First Lady Lisa Aranita Marcos and Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So aasahan po natin sa trip ng ating Pangulo, isa sa kanilang dapat pag-uusapan itong mainit na issue sa West Philippine Sea. So alam natin na galit na yung mga senador po natin dahil sa pambubuli ng China sa West Philippine Sea. So which is wala naman tayong magawa dahil hindi naman natin kaya makipagbakbakan sa China dahil sa sobrang laki ng China. Kahit pa sinasabi ng US na nandyan lang kami sa inyong likuran, babakapan namin kayo. Pero hindi tayo pwede magtiwala doon. So posibly pag-uusapan itong West Philippine Sea, yung possible joint oil exploration, isa pa yan sa West Philippine Sea. At ilang mga importanteng bagay, lalo na po dito, itong 14 bilateral agreement umano na pipirmahan ng ating Pangulo at ng China. So kung ano-ano man yan, yan po yung ating malalaman sa pagbalik ng ating Pangulo o sa pag-update niya pagkatapos ng kanyang state visit sa China, which is magsisimula na bukas early afternoon yung flight ng ating Pangulo. So, itong trip ng ating Pangulo sa 2022, marami siyang pinuntahan na state visit na nagdadala o magdadala pa ng maraming investment sa ating bansa, trabaho at negosyo. So, asahan po natin itong China. Kasi napakalaking tulong ng China sa ating bansa, lalo na pagdating sa infrastructure, which is napakaraming project ngayon na under sa Philippine China government to government agreement. So asahan po natin yan na mas marami pa, lalo na pagdating sa renewable energy. So ano ba ang purpose ng pag-visit ng ating Pangulo? Ano-ano pa? So narito po.
Marcos Jr. to the People's Republic of China will take place on January 3 to 5, 2023. The President will be joined by the First Lady, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Speaker of the House of Representatives Martin Romualdez, Secretary of Foreign Affairs Enrique Manalo, the Secretary of Finance, the Secretary of Trade and Industry, the Secretary of Tourism, the Secretary of Information and Communications Technology, and other cabinet secretaries whose presence may be needed to sign bilateral agreements with their Chinese counterparts. The Department of Foreign Affairs considers this state visit of great significance. It will be the first bilateral visit of the President to a non-ASEAN country since assuming the presidency. It will be the second face-to-face meeting between the two heads of state in less than 2 months. With both leaders receiving a fresh mandate in recent elections, there is an expectation that the state visit will set the tone of bilateral relations between the two countries in the next 5 to 6 years. The state visit is also expected to reaffirm the cordial and neighborly relations between the two countries, ensure continuity in many facets of the bilateral relationship, and chart new areas of engagement. It is also expected to build on the growing trade and investment ties between the two economies, as well as address security issues of mutual concern. During the state visit, between 10 to 14 bilateral government agreements are expected to be signed. These agreements represent cooperation in a broad range of areas, which include trade and investments, agriculture, renewable energy, infrastructure, development cooperation, people-to-people ties, and maritime security cooperation. The President will depart Manila in the early afternoon of January 3 and will arrive in Beijing in the early evening. The official activities of the President will begin on January 4 with three important meetings with Chinese leaders. His first meeting will be with Li Jianshu, chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, which is equivalent to the Philippine legislature. His second meeting will be with Premier Li Keqiang. And his final and third meeting will be with his counterpart, President Xi Jinping. President Xi will host a dinner banquet for the President, the First Lady, and cabinet officials after their meeting. A sizable business delegation will be joining the President's trip. Business meetings will be held on January 4 and 5, and a number of major business deals are scheduled to be signed and finalized during the state visit. China, after all, is our country's largest trading partner, our largest source of imports, and second largest export destination. The President will depart China for Manila on January 5, ending his state visit.
Bakit pa rin itutuloy ng ating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos ang pagbisita niya sa China sa kabila ng pagtaas ng COVID-19 doon?
Go ahead, sir.
Ang ating ugnayang panlabas sa China ay napaka-importante, and we have received assurances from our Chinese hosts that all arrangements are being made to ensure the safety of the President and his delegation during the visit. And a bubble arrangement has been agreed for the Philippine delegation to minimize the risk of exposure to the virus.
Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista said that the Philippines should be cautious and consider stricter travel requirements for travelers coming from China to the Philippines. What is the DFA's position to this? Are you amenable to the Philippines reimposing the mandatory RT-PCR requirements and other travel restrictions such as mandatory quarantine for Chinese travelers?
Well, the position of the Department of Foreign Affairs is the position of the IATF on COVID-related matters, and we have not received any advisory from the IATF for now. But as far as the visit is concerned, every precaution is being undertaken to ensure that the delegation is not infected and does not bring back to the Philippines the new variants of the virus.
So yun nga yung kinakatakot ng ating mga kababayan na hindi na dapat itutuloy ng ating Pangulo itong pagpunta niya sa China kasi nga natatakot sila na baka pagbalik ng mga delegation ng Pilipinas ay sila naman magdadala ng panibagong variant ng virus dito sa ating bansa, which is ayon nga sa tagapagsalita ng DFA ay secured itong mga pagbalik ng ating mga delegation mula sa China.
So I hope that answers the question.
Joint oil and gas exploration.
Yeah. Well, on the WPS, the President wants a peaceful and stable situation in the West Philippine Sea and will continue to uphold our country's sovereignty and sovereign rights during his meetings with Chinese leaders. And under energy cooperation, the President may raise or continue his discussions with President Xi, which began, by the way, during their initial meeting in Bangkok on oil and gas cooperation.
Construction activities in
Ayos, napaka-importante rin ito, yung oil exploration talaga, kasi tayo makikinabang dyan. Ang China parang baliwala lang yan daw sa kanila. Ayun nga kay President Bongbong Marcos Jr. Itong pagkaroon ng joint oil exploration sa West Philippines maliit na bagay lang daw yun sa China, pero sa Pilipinas napaka-importante. Kaya dapat isulong na yung joint oil exploration sa West Philippines para namang makabawi tayo, napakamahal daw ng ngayon ng oil.
in unoccupied features in the Spratly, and DFA has expressed concern related to this development. Will the President bring up this issue with President Xi, and what message is the President, or what message does the President?
Among them, the issue on the West Philippine Sea.
May we be clarified kung ano ho ang plano ng Philippine delegation kung sakali, mahigpit po kasi yung protocols ng Beijing pagdating sa mga kung sakali mag-positive, etc. Ano ho ang plano naman natin kung sakali nga, wag naman sana na may mag-positive?
Well, kailangan natin sundin siyempre ang protocols and restrictions ng Chinese government for the rest of the delegation. Kung meron man magpositibo, natural na kailangan siya ma-quarantine and ma-isolate until gumaling siya. And only then will that person be allowed to return to the Philippines.
May nakalagay po kasi na mag-charter ng flight to bring back the positive person to the Philippines. Have arrangements to that effect been made by the
Well,
Philippine
all
side?
arrangements are made no, for every possible scenario. But in general, that's how it is. You know, if a person tests positive, is supposed to isolate. And of course, that person cannot join the flight of the president for obvious reasons, right? So that person will have to wait until he tests negative before that person will go back to the Philippines.
Oh, alangan isama natin yan pag positive sa flight ng ating Pangulo. Ano? So, tama lang.
Because we also have to protect the Philippines, no, from the spread of this with protocols there in China. So there cannot be any big gatherings, no, which is usually what the president does. No, when he goes overseas, he meets the Filipino community in big gatherings. No?
Sir, just a clarification dun sa question ni Ivan kanina about the quarantine. Does it mean na pag may nag-positive dun sa delegation, sa hospital ba sila maka-quarantine? And will they ride a commercial flight going back to the Philippines once na nag-negative? Ganun po ba?
That's our understanding is for the official delegation, there's a special facility for isolation.
Salamat, sir.
Yeah.
From Eden Santos.
Asek follow-up lang po dun kay Mase. Who will shoulder po dun sa gastos if in case po na may mag-positive sa mga kasama sa delegasyon?
Well, that's being worked out between the two sides.
And one more thing, kasi po nakalagay dun sa advisory, January 3 to 6. Ibig po ba sabihin niyo mas pinaikling panahon ng pagbisita ng Pangulo sa China ay kahit pa paano natakot pa rin siya dun sa posibleng surge po ng kaso ng COVID?
Well, no, the original schedule was January 3 to 5/6. So the president always had that option of leaving on the 5th. So, and that's what's going to happen.
Hindi naman po
So
natatakot.
there's no decision to shorten the visit. No, it's basically as scheduled.
Thank you po.
As was mentioned earlier, China is a very important economic partner of the Philippines. So one of the main focuses of this visit is really to foster stronger economic cooperation. No? So we expect a big business delegation to join the president's delegation, and there will be a lot of business deals that will be signed. Well, we will leave that matter to the DTI, not to explain further, and we don't want to preempt the news about the total investment pledges that will be made. But there's a very strong expectation that there's great interest, no, from Chinese investors in the Philippine economy, especially in Philippine agriculture and renewable energy and nickel processing. Well, China imports 70% of its nickel ore and concentrates requirements from the Philippines. No? So there's a lot of potential in those sectors. And also, we expect an agreement on the importation of durian to be finalized. And the Chinese market has a voracious appetite for durian. So we expect a lot of interest in our durian exports and also possible investments in the durian producing regions in Mindanao. The agreement on our participation in the Belt and Road Initiative of China, which we believe complements the infrastructure program of the administration.
So, ayun. Ayun na nga mga idol, no? So, basta ito lang yung pinaka-importante dito sa trip ng ating Pangulo. Itong malakihang business deal na pagpipirmahan ng China at ng Pilipinas. So, inaasahan po natin na maraming mga Chinese na business, magiging business partner po natin na mag-join dito sa meeting ng ating Pangulo sa China. And itong napaka-importante, itong importation ng durian sa China. So, ibig sabihin, mahilig pala ang mga Chinese sa durian. So, napakalaking tulong ito. Ayan, napakalaking tulong sa ating farmers sa bandang Mindanao, pagdating sa durian. So, makaka-import mas papataasin ba yung importation nitong durian sa China. So, ibig sabihin yan, gaya ng inaasahan po natin, kung tataas ang importation sa China, ibig sabihin, pwede mag-invest din sila dito sa durian farming po natin sa ating bansa. Which is napakalaking tulong sa mga farmers po natin na sa bandang Mindanao o kahit sa ang banda man ng Pilipinas na mayroong mga tanim ng durian. Pero sa Mindanao kasing napakarami talagang durian na sa Davao City. So, yan ang malaking tulong sa ating mga kababayan itong trip ng ating Pangulo. So, yung mga nagbabatikos dyan, mga nag-iisip ng mga negative impact sa pakikipag-close ng Pilipinas sa China dati pa man kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, wala kasi hindi pwede na kakalabanin natin ng China. Unang-una noong una-unahang panahon pa talaga yung mga Chinese ang nagiging business partner po natin sa ating bansa. Tingnan nyo naman, napakaraming mayayaman ngayon na Chikwa or Chinese Pinoy ngayon, Chinese Philippine na nandito sa ating bansa. So sila talaga yung tumutulong din sa ating pagdating sa negosyo. So yung kultura na rin nila na mag-stay sa ating bansa. So marami na ring Chinese communities dito sa ating bansa, So ayan, lang tayo. Mag-isip lang po tayo na magiging positive impact ng pagbisita ng ating Pangulo sa China. So, asahan po natin yan. So, of course, ipipray po natin na sana ligtas po yung ating Pangulo, yung mga delegation ng Pilipinas, kasi napakadelikado itong bagong variant ng COVID. So, panalangin natin ang kaligtasan ng ating Pangulo at ng buong team ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat and God bless everyone.